Opposed? We need a motion to approve the minutes, and are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented?
Make a motion that the minutes be, November 19th be adopted.
Second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adopting the November 19th minutes of the board? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
There aren't any warrants to
There
be,
aren't any warrants, so.
but they are available for
Yeah.
signature on the table.
The warrants are ready, I went in there and signed them, so try to get in there before Friday. You do that. Danny, highway report?
So we have a few more trees to pick up here and there. We've got Hinkley Brook done today. Jamie did that with David and Wyatt. And Mike and I did 121 from the village all the way up through and halfway out Stage Road. Tomorrow we're gonna start on 35, or Jamie's gonna start on 35 from about Toomey's all the way to the town line. Wherever we can throw the stuff over the banks, that's what we're doing with it rather than trucking it back here. But there's a lot of places you can't because there's banks both sides. And I'll continue on Stage, Hall Ranch and Cabell. We got quite a few places where we couldn't get to plow the snow right off and the lines are down. So people packed it down and now it's getting pretty sloppy. So if I have Mike take the grader tomorrow on some of them roads to try to peel some of that stuff off the roads. 121 on the edges are pretty deep. Stage Road is. I don't know if they got
Hinkley Brook.
Hinkley Brook done the other day or not, but
No,
Hinkley
they
Brook.
were done.
So, and then of course we have to sand them because it'll peel them down to ice where it is frozen. The Freightliner, the small truck, is at Patriots having a cooler put in it. That truck warranty is off. There's only a 5-year warranty on that. That's gonna be about $3,000 for that truck. It should be done tomorrow.
What's the turnover of that truck? When does that one due?
7 years, so end
So
of
2
the
more.
next year. Yep, you gotta go through another winter. So 2013,
What would you replace that with?
same thing.
Same thing. You kind of have to, right?
Yeah, the warranties are all over the place. It, you know, depends on what you have for a motor. That at Cummins, the longest you could get was 5 years on that truck. The Western Star, one of the 10-wheelers, the longest we could get on that was 3 years on part of it,
On
and
the
5 on the powertrain. And then the newest truck, I think, is 7 years. So it just depends what they're offering at the time. But that it has to be another small single axle that can make it across the covered bridge.
Right.
How much repairs cost?
They told me 3,000.
Okay. Thank you.
And we get all that done, we're haul some more sand and we put a bit of sand and salt.
Bill?
Does Right Orchard need to be done?
Right Orchard, all the side ones on Eastman. Eastman needs to be cleaned up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that, can you get to them tomorrow?
No.
Okay, so that'll be the rest of the week?
Yeah. By the end of the week, we should have them all done.
Okay.
Was there an estimate of what that was going to cost just to pick up the debris on the side of the road?
I told Bill today between 15 and 20,000. And that might be when I first told him, I told him 20 to 25, and that might be actually, you know, seeing how far we actually made it today. I thought we were gonna make it a lot further. I believe there's gonna be money available for it.
Bill?
VEM wanted to know, and that's where the Regional Planning Commission asked for the estimate, and they just wanted an estimate, and at this time, I told them 20,000 plus or minus, depending on what we found when we went out Route 35.
And how do you base that cost? Labor?
Labor on each guy, the equipment,
Fuel?
And you have that all broken down?
I do it by the day, and then I guess how many days roughly it's gonna be. So for the highway crew, for the 3 of us, for a day with the equipment, you're looking at almost $2,000 a day. And then When you hire somebody, you wanna figure them at around 1,500 a day for one person and a piece of equipment.
That doesn't mean we're gonna get any money.
No.
No, I know.
Okay. If
You
they,
can only try.
yeah, if they don't reach 1.5 million, they're not gonna get anything. So,
So did he declare an emergency for winter?
I have no idea. No one has talked to me, so I have no idea. And I was so dang busy, I didn't get a chance to call VEM, but they're gathering, what they usually do is V-Trans tells the RPCs to start gathering information. That's all sent to the VEM. If there is 1.5 million, the governor will declare. But it's so many dollars per head in the state of Vermont. So it's like $1.5 million. If there's $1.5 million of damage, then the governor may declare, and then possibility of FEMA doing it. If it's less than that, they probably won't bother. And that's and it has to be in your county, that's $1.5 million for the state. In your county, there has to be over, I think it's 250,000. If there isn't 250,000 in your county, but there's $1.5 million in the state, you're not gonna get it for the county, so it depends. If there's a declaration, I would imagine, because the storm was centered in this county and Windsor, and a little bit up in Orange, that we will get it, but who knows?
But we're the only town in the county, I mean, the rest almost, until you get over to Bennington County, nobody else really got affected in
exactly.
the county that bad.
Yeah, so it may not be enough damage to get a declaration.
Does Green Mountain Power, do they submit any costs?
That might be, because utilities also get that same assistance as public utilities, that might be the way we get over the 1.5 million, and that way may be how the county gets over the 250,000, yes.
Any other questions or comments? I'd like to just make one. Stan and I had a meeting with Bill this morning, to just kind of review the past week. And I had some concerns, Stan had some concerns, Bill had some concerns. So we convinced Bill, who is the emergency manager, he's the assistant, I guess. So as a result of this, I think it's good for the town that we have an emergency management meeting on December 11th here at 10 o'clock, just to review what went wrong, what went right, and try to make it better for next time. So it's nothing to do with the select board, it's the emergency management committee meeting, but it's just good to review what took place. So in the event, maybe we can make some improvements and whatever. The next item is the personnel policy. It's been looked over 100 times. It's been to Robin Stern, it's been to VLCT, so I think we're ready to adopt it. Bill, would you like to speak on it, or Stan or something?
The only thing, Stan has some spelling corrections and some errors where I haven't taken out parentheses that say, put in the number here, and things like that. Other than that, there's nothing that I know of that is material, but I need to correct those. I didn't have a chance to do them today. I have the Word document here if you want to correct them now, or if you wanted Stan and I to get together and correct those later. Whatever you want to do.
I'm happy with the document, I just wanted to, if we were gonna have a document, I just wanted it to be.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. I want it to be all right, so.
But no, I don't have any problem with the document itself.
So does any, as the select board, any of the members have any questions, or are you prepared to vote and get the new document approved and start using it?
I think we gotta move on, so I make a motion, we adopt the new town of Grafton personnel policy and adopt it as of this evening.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? So all in favor of Bill? Sorry?
Okay, with those changes, with those edits?
With those edits.
Okay, now, before you vote, I'd like to have a little bit of discussion.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
and that is just that you've read all the comments from Robin Stern. Make sure everybody has done that and realize that she questioned some of the things that we had discussed completely, and that's the way we wanted it. So everybody's still fine with those things that she had concerns with, that we want, for instance, how you count comp time, and so on, vacation time and so on.
But just to be sure, those corrections are.
They're all in there.
They're in there, so that's fine.
Okay. And then we took out Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Yes.
All right, so if we have no further discussion, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have a new personnel policy. I guess, Bill, now that we have to get the employees to sign, I'm assuming?
The employees all have to sign, and Kim has to sign, yes.
Yeah. Right. The solar strategy is very simple. They've made their application to, there's been a response, I guess, by, well, that's the attorney.
Joe, I can.
Yeah, go ahead, why don't you?
When they went through some of their different issues, they had, well, first of all, they had to get responses from Agency of Natural Resources, from the historical people, and from the people who do the brownfield sites. And they had work to do on all of those. So the public utilities put a stay on their petition until those things were handled. They've dealt with all of those. One of them was one of the things we suggested, the electricity go up in the eave and not dig in that soil that's already been disturbed, and might have some brownfields issues. They're gonna move with the other thing we brought up was the septic, to get it out of the solar field altogether. So the septic will go right along the building and away from the solar field. I can put the map up if anybody wants it. And then they've got their permits from them. They still have to deal with A&R. My issue with them is that I am asking that we be able to write a letter to them and the Agency of Natural Resources and to the local district, Act 250 district, because they've never, the cars are still there. I can go through all these pictures if you guys want to see them. The junk's still there, the cars are still there. All the stuff that Rex James said that he'd take care of, screening off the stonework stuff, it's just a big trash heap. And my thought was to allow Joe and I to write a letter to them, and what we expressed concerns about not meeting the Act 250, not having Act 250 permits that even the Act 250 people don't know exist or don't exist because they lost the file. So they don't even know if the new people in there even asked if they needed a permit and what the response was from the district commission. So we want them to go through all that before they do that, and then practically speaking, they are going to work in the floodway temporarily. So that's probably okay, but you need a permit. And secondly, they're going to put the solar panels in the floodplain, which is fine, but you need a permit. And my question is, do they have a permit? I was told at one time that this is state jurisdiction when it goes before the Public Service Board. It isn't town jurisdiction on the floodplain. They've got to go, but I've not seen a permit. I have no idea what they've done with any of that. So I'd like to just raise all these concerns to see if we can't get the Public Service Board to step up, and Agency of Natural Resources through the Secretary of the Agency of Natural Resources to do something. Because one of the employees told me that those cars showing up here are probably the ones that the Agency of Natural Resources is removing from the lot down in Brattleboro. So if that's happening, how is that any good? Yeah, how is that any good? So, I mean, so that's what, those are the issues I want to bring up with them, to try to throw a wrench in their whole thing, I'll admit it, so that they will then clean that place up.
If you remember when we had the discussion, this is the only time we really have an opportunity to go after them, because once they get their permit, it's finished. Go ahead, Mike.
Joan and I went into that building last year, and there were probably 40 cars in there, at least.
Inside the building?
Stored in that building,
Well,
yeah.
that was the original, when this.
And they've been
actually
there
opened,
for
it was
years.
parcel.
Yeah.
Well, then Bill also raised the question of whether or not they have permits for the businesses that are in there to operate.
Including somebody who mixes chemicals
Yeah.
on a brownfield site
Right.
without a permit.
Right,
Huh?
so there's a lot of issues here. And I don't know what the regulations are about storing cars with gasoline inside of a building here in Vermont. I know when we had our business in New York, and we had an indoor parking garage for trucks, there was all kinds of regulations you had to have in case of a fire with sprinkler systems and all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know what Vermont's laws are, but I think we need to take a look at all this stuff. Because this is really the only opportunity we have.
I think, based on what happened to the town of Shasberry with the PFOAs down there,
Yeah.
and eventually the town said, this is your problem, you didn't address it early. I think we should go the opposite route and be proactive
Right.
and bring it to the attention of the state now in the process and let them know the town of Grafton has a concern. And we're trying to get it resolved, so we're really asking for their participation now.
Yeah, and the reason to put it on here so that you're informed, and then we can Bill can draft a letter and I won't sign it, to express our concerns to the necessary agencies, whoever they might be.
Yeah. The letter is pretty much the same letter. There'll be a few more additions. Same letter we sent to him with a 40-day response a year ago. Yeah.
So if there's no objection or whatever, then we'll just continue with monitoring this. Yes, Marty?
With that letter, would you also copy A&R?
I'm gonna write to A&R.
Okay,
Yeah, we're gonna send to every agency we can.
okay.
I mean, just as a side look what they made the Riverledge Farm go through for. Here, these people are blatantly violating everything, and nobody's doing anything. I mean, you can't have two kinds of justices as far as I'm concerned.
What has Rex said about all of this?
Well, I think whatever he said, I wouldn't believe.
Well, he said he was gonna fence in he didn't say he's gonna do anything about the cars, but he did say he was gonna he's gonna fence in and have Stoneworks put their stuff behind the fence. He did
So,
say
I
that.
mean, they made promises, and he sat here and told us how wonderful his progress is gonna be, and nothing has been done, so.
I do have one other thing. I did talk to John McKay. He came in when he paid his taxes.
Right.
And he said, the only cars parked there, he said they're gonna park some out front. I said, they have to be registered and inspected.
Right.
And they're none. Otherwise they're trash, and the state law says we can remove them.
I don't think so. I don't think we need.
Authorize Bill to send those letters.
But if you wanna make a motion, we can. I don't-
Yeah, to authorize Joe to help me to send, we'll
I
send,
make a motion that we authorize the town administrator to write letters to the Secretary of the Agency of Natural Resources, the Act
Well, just-
50 Board,
Yeah. And all the other concerned agencies.
And the
and the
PSP.
Public Utility Commission,
okay.
listing our concerns on the site here, unified site.
Do we have a second for this?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion of the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks. Okay, the next item is just an announcement. We have the final budget review meeting on Friday, December 7th. I have here, Ken gave me today, the final numbers without the revenue. There's it on the Cynthia stand, and here's yours. And this is yours. So she has all the expenses that we talked about. So go back to your notes to make sure they're accurate. And the only thing that's not here is the revenue side, and she'll start to work on that. I need to point out, they had a meeting with the over the health insurance, and there was an opportunity that we could probably go to another health insurance company, which is about $7,000 cheaper. And she factored in on the benefit side with the MVP plan. So that's already in here. And if we can decide if you want to continue with Blue Cross at a higher rate or
So-
it can be later.
So that means if we went with these numbers here, there would be a savings. And if we then went with that other,
No,
this has got the higher number.
this has got the MVP, the lower number.
The lower number. You said the other one was $7,000 less.
Right, that's MVP.
MVP is.
MVP is $7,000 less. And that's how she figured this with the benefits.
Did they actually end up showing up that day? for that meeting?
Yeah. No, she and I met on Friday. And I've given you all the spreadsheets
Yeah.
that you guys can use in your budget hearing. And it's really, Jeff, if you just looked at on that one page at the top, it says platinum and it says gold. If you look at those two columns, or you can go on further over you want, but those are the two. And down below, 2018 cost,
Right down the bottom, down here, right here.
2018 costs
These here,
and
these are the comparisons. Blue
for
Cross.
Blue Cross Blue Shield and 2019 costs for Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And everything above that for both policies is exactly the same. And she said that her clients who have gone with MVP have been satisfied. They haven't had any complaints.
Now, just remember, this is a fluid document. This has not been officially
Right.
approved by the board. And there might be other people here who want to go back to Blue Cross or whatever, but she just took the lower number for us to look at. But these numbers can be changed at the final meeting, which will be on Friday.
I'd like to get a copy of that so I can.
I can give it to you.
See that.
Okay. And she asked, everything that you mentioned, MVP's plugged in, it doesn't have the revenue. Once you go through line by line before Friday
Yep.
and mark it up, and then she's not sure the library number.
Yeah, and I'll have to look at my records.
And
I don't have it
so
with me.
she has it in her notes, so that was the only one she wanted to point out.
Yeah, so the goal on Friday is to actually take a vote and pass this budget for next year, for the town meeting. So take a look at it and study it.
Will the budget review meeting be open to the
Yes,
public?
it's a one meeting thing.
And did I hear you say, is it possible there's a conflict of that meeting and the emergency management meeting?
No, the emergency management meeting is on December 11th.
Oh, I thought I heard you say the 7th, okay. Okay, and the spreadsheet for the employee benefits, is it possible to put that up on the website?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
I can, it's just so dang hard
I'm
to
just
read.
wondering if there are any implications for the employees in terms of how much more they'll have to pay in order for us to get a $7,000.
That depends
They don't have
on,
to pay anything.
it depends on what they do, but there's a saving of 7,200 without affecting, well, they would affect us a touch, because a percentage of less money out means we pay less money out too, or they pay much less.
I've never seen anything yet that's cheaper, that's not the same as the higher priced one.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
that, I know, but that's what they're saying.
There's
That's
a
a
difference
discussion.
I'm
somewhere.
happy to pick up a hard copy if it can be public information.
I've given them all away. But I can make, I can print it. Or I can print one, I can actually send it to you. I can send it to you,
Okay, that'd be
but,
great.
but it's really hard to read. And they
I
don't,
love
and they
that
don't,
kind of thing.
and they don't blow up easy. Well, I mean, by hard to read, I mean it's tiny. And they don't blow up easy, so.
And,
Yeah, there you
I'll
go.
pass this along also. Kim told me that, with just looking at the figures that are in front of us, it's up $21,000 over last year. But you have to put the revenue side, so the revenue might be up. So if the revenue is up over last year, then it might be a wash, or, but nobody knows until we do the revenue side. But if the numbers get approved today, it's up $21,000 over last year. Well, any other comments on that? If not, we'll move right along to public comment.
Joe, what is the emergency plan triggered this storm?
I can't speak to the emergency management.
I'm sorry, I don't know the question.
Was the plan, the emergency plan triggered during this storm?
Not, I don't know, but because the emergency plan, emergency management goes into effect when the town can't handle its stuff. And we could handle this stuff. So that's another reason why I don't know if FEMA's gonna even give any money, but we did, but we were conscious of it, and we did, between Kim took all the phone calls that she got, we kept track of them, and we checked on all the people that were called in, and we asked neighbors, and the fire department went out, Stan went out and did a visit. So in the sense of a response to the people in the community, yes, it was put into effect, and the people were all contacted. There wasn't any sheltering, though Stan had thought about it. There wasn't any sheltering, but there was an offer from the Grafton Cares for food and other places for showers and people to come in and get warm at the church and so on. So everybody was thought about. There are some things we want to do in the emergency action plan, after action report and plan, including reinstituting the list, the voluntary list, not in violation of HIPAA, but a voluntary list of people who have certain needs if they want to be on a list to put it, because that has been stopped because of the HIPAA laws. And so we want to see if we can do that again. And Stan could offer some more, but in the town hall, we were constantly reacting to people calling in and concerned about people, or calling in and giving us information that they had checked on people when we made sure that those names were all checked off. For instance, the Hughes, the town crew stopped, and then I made sure that somebody actually saw them, because we saw the car leaving there. I just wanted to make sure that they were fine, and that they did that. And Stan went up to Ryan's and to Janet Martin's, and yeah. So there isn't anybody that we forgot about that I could think of.
Pardon?
About teeth healing.
Did not.
We need a really good list.
The only defense on that is that he's very near other people, as opposed to like Carl Hughes and things like that. But no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's
We did.
And Sue Hayden, right from the beginning, I was on Green Mountain Power to make sure Otis Road was cleared. It took them a day to get there, but they were cleared before most of the people in town.
Rob Hall.
There are many people though, that, like Don Morris, that will not ask for help, and you have to bring them.
I know, and I checked on him, but he was in every morning for
I
golfing.
know, I realize that.
The problem becomes, the old saying is, you can lead a horse to water, da-da-da-da-da. And I tried with numbers of people. And there was just, for whatever reason, they wouldn't leave because of their pet. They were perfectly comfortable. Well, not perfectly comfortable, but at least,
With no running water.
But there were people that, sons or daughters looking in on them. We did try to make contact. I did send out a note to the emergency management crew that maybe we should have a sit down and start talking about this thing. The problem is when the thing goes out, typically you got a 24-hour, maybe a 12-hour power thing. So then the thing goes out for 12 hours. Next thing you know, you're into 24 hours. Next thing you know, you're into 36 hours. Next thing and whoever would have thought we were going to be going into this thing for almost 5 days. And then after that, somebody knocks out the power down on 121 and takes out a telephone pole. So those of us that might have escaped not losing our power ended up losing it for 8 or 9 hours, whatever it was, after the telephone pole got hit.
Bill?
I don't feel really good about the whole thing. We did a lot of good work, but I think we could have done a heck of a lot better, and that's why we want to have an after-action meeting.
And that's, to answer your question,
Yeah, well,
that's why Stan and I thought it would be a good idea to have the emergency management, so it
I
could be
think definitely
viewed
you
and
should. A lot of people fell through the cracks and there were some inconsistencies. But I would like to see Yeah, take for me, for instance, I was fortunate, I only lost mine for 14 hours. And I am not, I can get around, but some people can't. I had no phone, no cell phone service, no internet, zilch. You know, and maybe in 10 years, if I'm still here, I'm gonna need some help. And without those three things, how do I communicate?
Well, that's why we're hoping, as Bill said, and this is something we want to talk about probably at this meeting, not necessarily tonight, but that's one of the things that we hope to have a volunteer list.
Yeah.
At one time, and Eric knows that, you know, we used to have a list of, in a locked compartment on the rescue truck type of thing. But somehow, you know, the privacy laws or whatever, I don't know what actually happened to that. But those were mostly people that needed maybe very specific medications or they had health problems.
Or oxygen.
Or oxygen.
Nursing people.
But that would be the thing to know is, and as far as I know, I don't think we have anybody that's on dialysis that if they lost their power, that would be in really deep trouble. You know, electrically powered oxygen units. I'm not aware of anybody in town that has that. And that would be really good information to have if that person who has that wants to pass it.
Oh,
I think Mary and Irene, there was somebody on Eastland Road that was in that kind of situation.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
It was either dialysis or oxygen.
I think Peggy O'Keefe had to come down and stay at the tavern because
Yes.
of her situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Stan, you're absolutely right. The problem we have here is communication.
Yes.
Because now you have, with the internet, the way VTEL is, so if you lose your power more than 8 hours, you lose that. Then cell service is slim to none in most places. And so then it is a difficult time to communicate. And I think that's some of the things that we could probably talk about. I don't know what we can do about it, but certainly talk about it at this meeting. And that Stan and I met this morning with Bill and said, I think we should encourage the emergency management people to take a review and see what's going on. Yes.
Just as a commercial plug, I'd be willing to work with people to have various kinds of workarounds for the telephone communication issue. There are many things that can be done, they cost money, but you can extend as long as you want to, depending upon how much money you want to spend to have telephone service. I can do that.
Can I share a personal experience?
Sure.
from this room?
Public comment.
So,
You're the public.
so I was in the Catskills and Noreen's home, keeping the wood stove going. And I'd gone, gave her a training session on how to run the tractor and PTO and snow blower. That was good. I forgot to give her a training session on the generator.
Oh, dear.
Which I had spent some money to have Gus put a panel in so we could wheel it out, plug it in, just flip the switch and run everything off the generator. So I forgot to give her a little training session. So when I realized what's going on, because I can't get a hold of Noreen after. Once Gus came out and got the generator running, then she figured out, okay, as long as the generator was running, the telephone worked. So it's your power if you have power in your house and it goes to that phone, that little box downstairs, you got it. The other thing that we learned was that I have a little charger, it's like a jump kit that goes, you take it in your vehicle, you can use it to jump a car, you can use it to make power, AC power or DC power. But if you have one of those, and so you plug it into the wall outlet, you charge it up, assuming you do that ahead of time, you charge it up, then you can plug that little box for the phone into that little unit. You may not have power anyplace else in the house, but you can make the telephone work and you can make your internet work with that little $100 unit that you buy at Cabela's or you buy at Bond Auto.
And you can start your car with it too.
Or you can start your car with it and blow the tires up. But,
Right.
so there are some, as Eric's saying, there are some workarounds, but once Noreen realized, well, whenever the generator was working, she could make her phone calls and that sort of thing. Of course, I just never called when she had the generator running.
One of the things that really helped us out on this, if we had dropped 10 more degrees or 15 more degrees,
Right.
we would have been in deep, deep stuff. We would have really had to
Right.
dig into this, but we were
Or
very, very
If the
fortunate.
storm yesterday was a little bit colder, it would have been a repeat of that.
Right.
So we were very fortunate. Susan?
What is the culpability and accountability of Green Mountain Power in all of this?
They go by numbers.
They go by
And when
numbers.
I say they go by numbers, if you have a certain, they assign crews to either certain towns. Like when we first started, I mean, this is, a number is hard to believe. They were saying in Grafton at the beginning of this thing, if I remember correctly, these are gonna be round numbers, but somewhere around 420 customers in the town of Grafton had no power. So what would happen is that if you went on their website, they actually have a pretty good website, you know, Green Mountain Power Outage or something like that. And it's actually it's a pretty good website. And it was somewhere in the state, I forget what the statewide number was, close to
It was
40,000.
31,000.
Yeah, it was,
I think.
right, it was between 30 and 40,000 statewide. So they did have outside crews come in. I think Pennsylvania was here, there was a couple of outside crews.
There was a
that-
bunch from
that came.
Quebec and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, I mean, they try hard, but the problem is what they do is, I don't want to cheapen this thing, but it's bang for the buck. If they can fix one wire and put 200 customers back on in one shot, that's where they're gonna go. Or if you have a hospital, or if you have some sort of critical thing, that's where they're going. The problem being, and this what hit us, was most of the ones that are like a one customer thing are the ones that's up on the other end of a 2-mile road. That person can't get out because there's wires down. Somebody can't get into that person because of the wires down, but it's a one person. That becomes very difficult. So we did have a talk, Bill and I talked with Greg Heaton. He's sort of the local, I always want to say CBPS, Green Mountain Power guy. And one of the things that really disappointed me, and I said to him, I said, one of the problems that happened up on Bright Orchard Road, that whole thing was out, but they don't have a switch up there to kill it. They had to kill the power all the way down next to the gas station down here. So all of 35, all the way up the hill in the past was off because of the one tree that was across the wires up on Bright Orchard Road. We talked about that. And he said that they're working on things like that, because they took over from, you know, Central Vermont Public Service, so they had to take over what was there. And one thing I should have said, it was all they had to do was go up and just lop that wire with a pair of cutters, and all of 35 then would have been perfectly fine, and then it would have just been Bright Orchard Road. And there's other instances like that.
There's another instance too, they did not want to work, and I don't blame them, they won't work in the woods at night.
No.
So if you have trees on the wires in the woods, they go someplace else. And so that's another issue that you have to deal with.
Yeah, again, and it's exactly that issue. What happens, everybody knows where Bill Toomey lives, for instance. His power, you go all the way up Bright Orchard Road, all the way at the end of, well, give or take to the, about where Ken Armstrong lives. It cuts back down across through the woods, back to 35, and then south to the two Toomey houses.
And then the other problem they have too, which slows them down, is that before they even touch the wires, they have to test them because there might be a generator from someone's house that's backfeeding in. So that even makes it even worse because you know, they have to go and get up there and check the thing, otherwise someone will get killed. So, you know, it's not an easy situation.
It's a tough situation for them.
And I can tell you, when I lived here in my other house, I was the only one on there. And it was always the last person. I mean, and besides that, there was no road to go down there, so they had to walk in and, you know, whatever. So, I mean, it's unfortunate when you live in on a road, like Otis Road, like poor Sue Haddon.
Yeah.
She's the only one on that road.
How about Rob Hall?
Rob Hall, same way. And what the problem is they fixed Hinkley Brook.
Oh, right
But
down
they
the
wouldn't go to
bottom.
Rob's because he was the only one on it, so he had to wait longer.
And what they wanted to do then is they wanted to get back into the ones where they were going through the woods. They had to do the woods in the daylight. So they were 5 minutes from Rob Hall's house, but it's one of those things, it's hard, but it's all in the numbers.
Well, the other problem is, the fellow that Hunt went down in the Catskills, really good friends with the fellow that worked for NICEAG, which is the power company down there. Same things happened to NICEAG that's happened to Green Mountain Power, where they used to have 25, 26 linemen. Once they got bought out by other companies, that they're down to 4 linemen.
Yeah.
And so they don't have the amount of players that they used to have.
So that's why they bring in so many of these
Well,
outside
exactly.
outfits.
Well, exactly,
Because-
but they have to drive here from someplace, so
Sure.
there's
It's time.
at least a day,
It's time.
and they're fighting a storm to get here from wherever they're
Yep.
coming from.
You know, Stan, there's one thing to have absolute numbers, there's another thing to have percentage outage. I mean, 420 people out of 600, 2/3 of the people were out of power.
Oh, yeah,
Is
and
there a
they,
squeaky wheel effect? I mean,
But you might remember Chester was out.
oh, Chester had way more than we had.
So, they're gonna go to Chester,
yeah,
Gretchen's gonna get 3
Chester.
trucks, and Grafton's gonna get one and a half,
Ludlow,
whatever.
Ludlow had hundreds out.
but they just may not have,
Wilmington.
to Al's point, they just may not have enough staff.
Well, they don't,
They don't.
that's just the way it is.
The whole town of Weston was out.
It is a
Yeah.
public utility, it might be a private company, but it's still a public
Yeah.
utility with a public.
Yeah, if you want to complain, Londonderry was out long after we were all on. And they had like 500.
I mean, we do
It's a tough
that, we can control certain things, but unfortunately, you can't control the power company.
There's
You
the,
know, it's like
And
one
then the
ring
other
thing.
thing we can't control, the other thing we cannot control, and we're gonna have to, and again, I hate to do this, but the other thing we can't control is we went ahead and blocked off roads. People moved the cones over and drove through. One car hooked on the wire and dragged it down the road. I won't say anything about somebody's with plows and everything driving over wires, but, sometimes you don't see them. But literally, we'll block off, I mean, we're talking about buying signs, but we literally put cones out and blocked Route 121 between here and Hiltonville, and people just moved them over and drove down across anyways.
It's all gonna go away with global warming.
That's right, we're all gonna be sitting out in the
I thought
sun.
there wasn't global warming.
It's gonna get worse, it's gonna be ice.
Any other public comment?
Stockbridge still has 4.
Last select board meeting, John brought up the topic of a concern in Cambridge, I can't remember what it was exactly. It was a cleanup.
Of the cleanup.
Lot.
Is
I just
anything
wondered if
happening
any
there?
practical.
The sale is December 10th.
Oh, I thought they'd already had it.
As far as I know, it's December 10th.
Okay, so let's see what happens after September.
All right, yeah.
And he has moved some of his stuff,
Oh, really?
not a lot. but
Yeah,
yes.
where? How do you know?
Try to bring it over to the old unified data. Any other public comment?
Joe, what time's that meeting on December 11th?
At 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock? Here or?
Here,
No, it's here.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
It's not a one meeting, it's an emergency meeting.
Right, it's emergency management.
And is it open to the public?
Yes,
But is it all public meeting?
yes.
Any
It's not
business-
warned because it's not a select board meeting, it's an emergency management.
Any new business? Danny?
Well, time out. It's a warned meeting because the emergency management committee is appointed by the select board.
Okay.
So yes, it's a warned meeting, it's not a select board meeting.
Okay. I have 2 cones in the back of my truck that you need to take out. That was down at the Pettigill Schoolhouse. I don't know where the other 2 cones are that Stan, you put up at the
Apple Company,
They
yeah.
weren't there.
Okay.
So.
Were they the fire department's cones or?
No, they were on those are the ones that was on the town porch, on the
Okay.
town hall porch.
So before you go, I'll just take them out of my truck. But I don't know what happened to the other 2. So maybe my brother-in-law's got them and he knows something, but I'll go ask him when I see him. Or somebody might want to ask him if you happen to see him. So, because I didn't pick them up. Any other new business? Okay, the next meeting is December 17th, the select board. And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
In favor? Say aye. Aye.
Nicely done.
Okay, well, thanks for everybody for coming.